Hi! I made a series called The Island a while ago, and it did alright. It was alright. A lot of amazing people helped me make it, and they were all absolutely wonderful and did a fantastic job. And, it's over now. Discord server's gone. I'm never going to make a series again because the island killed me. But I did have a season 2 planned out. It will never get made unless somebody is willing to take it on, but that's definitely not gonna happen. So here's what it would have looked like if we lived in an alternate universe where I had money, time, and motivation. So if you have absolutely no idea what I'm talking about right now, The Island was an original Wings of Fire series made using Wings of Fire Roblox. It's about Raisin, Rattlesnake, and Polar. There are 3 dragonettes. They're going to Jade Mountain Academy. They're besties. And then one day, oh no, they get swept up in a giant storm and they wash ashore on an island, middle of nowhere. It's inhabited by hybrids, fire scales, mind readers, animus dragons, and anything else considered different or odd in the Wings of Fire universe. And these dragons live here because hundreds of years ago, they got prosecuted for existing, so a bunch of them left the mainlands. They found the island. They call it Crab Claw because it's shaped like a crab claw. I'm so creative, I know, guys. And they've been living there for like a few hundred years now. Currently, the island is in 2 different groups, the villagers and the rebels. The villagers are led by this guy who calls himself King. He's an asshole. He overthrew the government like 30 to 40-ish years ago. The rebels then, they're led by one of the members of the overthrown government, Everglade. She's got a lot of issues. And yeah, the rebels want to overthrow King, but they're also not actively doing anything to overthrow him. So they're kind of just there. There's lore about that. Anyway, back to Raisin, Rattlesnake, and Polar. They get to the island, they wash ashore, they spend a day in the village. There's this old guy, he tells them to leave, and they don't. Then King tries to drown them, then a monster shows up and does a little dance, which somehow separates the group. So Polar, he gets stuck in the village, where he's manipulated by an old man and a twink. Raisin ends up with the rebels, and she falls in love with an emo boy. And Rattlesnake somehow makes it back to the mainland, don't know how he did that. He gets stuck with pirates, and, yeah, there's pirates now in Wings of Fire, where dragons don't have pirate ships. Yeah, I come up with stuff in my brain and then it exists. A lot of shit happens while the 3 are separated. They somehow get back together at some point. Half of the semi-important characters die. A new villain shows up who's actually a threat to everyone's existence. And then somehow everyone gets into a big argument. Like, literally everyone gets into a big argument. Like, they somehow all are connected and they all end up together. Then the island's on fire, and the only people to escape alive are some of the pirates, including Quartz. She's gonna be important soon. Then there's Rattlesnake, Raisin, Polar, and the twink. His name's actually Hollow Truth, but yeah. Then you think the series is over, but suddenly a bunch of islanders actually did make it out alive, and they go to the main group of characters and they're like, help, please. If you want more lore, go watch the series. I left out so much here. Alright, finally to the reason I'm making this video. What happens next? What would season 2 have looked like? Well, I had the whole thing planned out, so now I'm gonna tell you kind of what I had. It's not gonna be perfect, there's going to be holes and stuff, that's because it's never going to actually happen, so I have no desire to fix those holes. So, we got 4 new main characters. Raisin, Rattlesnake, and Polar are still our main 3, but now Hollow Truth is also a main character, so sometimes we might get his POV. They are taking the islanders back to the mainland. They reassure them, hey, everything's gonna be fine, we're gonna find you a new home on the mainland, and people will accept you. They go to the mainland, and they happen to land in the rainforest. Raisin's village also happens to be on the coast, so they decide to go to her village first. They're able to find it. They find Raisin's family. They are ecstatic to see her since, you know, she's been missing for months. And so then Raisin tells her family and all the other Rainwings there the lore of the island, and the Rainwings don't really give a So everyone gets to know Raisin's family. The Rainwings do welcome the islanders with open arms. They're still very nice to them. And we get some of Raisin's backstory, which is everything is sunshine and rainbows until your grandma dies. And after one day of grief, everyone around you moves on and seems to forget about someone who made a huge impact on your life. And now you're prone to shoving grief and other bad emotions down in order to not upset your family and friends. Because everyone should be happy all the time. Yeah! Anywho, while that's happening, the Rainwing royal family shows up because the queen of the Rainwing, she doesn't have a name. A lot of characters are not gonna have names, so go with that. She meets everyone and basically tells everyone about how she helped end the Savage Ages to like comfort the islanders so that they know they're safe in the rainforest. And the story goes that the Queen Rainwing, Queen Peaches of the Skywings, Queen Heather of the Silkwings, and believe it or not, Queen Alacran of the Hivewings all challenged their mothers at around the same time to get the throne and end the murders of other dragons, since all four believed that the Savage Ages were unnecessary and horrible. They also all threatened to wage war on any other kingdom that kept on trying to kill dragons that were different or unordinary, and because nobody wanted to take on 4 whole kingdoms at once, everyone just ended the Savage Ages. It was done. Everyone is shocked about this, since, last season, Alacran and Heather showed up and imprisoned them all, which was recent in their time. So, that'll come up again later, but for now, everybody shuts their fucking mouth about it, because they might get executed for having been involved in the murder of a queen and half her soldiers. Anyway, the Islanders and our main characters hang out for like a day or two, and some side story stuff happens that builds up to some of the bigger conflicts later in the season. So one of the smaller things that kind of is important later on, but it's more of like important at the end of the series thing. There's a Rainwing prince. His name's Beetroot, because I mentioned that in the server and everybody thought it was funny, and then I actually grew attached to the fucking name, so now his name's Beetroot. Prince Beetroot is crushing on Raisin, and Raisin's sort of crushing on him, but at the same time, she's still grieving over Parrot, and he's kind of like coming on strong at first, but he backs off when he notices Raisin's not reciprocating. He's respectful and understanding, he's a king. Then Rattlesnake meets his new love interest, named Spitfire, a former villager who's a Sandwing Skywing hybrid. She's bold, outgoing, and kinda aloof, basically an opposite to Rattlesnake. And Rattlesnake, he's got some stuff going on. He's been seeing things. Ghosts. And he's not sure why, but many of them seem scared of him, or like they don't want him to see them. Interesting. Then Polar's just being a grump. Hollow Truth is kind of just here for now, and he's more tired than anything else, considering, everything that happened to him. So the main focus is on Raisin right now, because we're in her home. Rattlesnake is kind of like the secondary, and Polar and Hollow Truth are just here for now. They're going to be important later. Raisin's also been upset with her family, since she's kind of been tired and not giving 100% of her energy, because, her fucking rebel friends died, including her boyfriend, who, trauma dumped to her and they trauma bonded and stuff, and then his mom killed him, and basically a lot of people she was getting to know died randomly. Raisin basically realizes that Rainwing's way of dealing with emotions isn't the best, and that it's not helping her, and that she's feeling more upset than anything. So then I imagine she has a talk with Polar, and basically Polar validates her grief and says, hey, you are allowed to feel pain, you are allowed to be upset. Eventually, to keep the plot moving, there's some conflict with the Rainwings not quite liking how down in the dumps the Islanders are, because, half their friends and family died, and they're all still grieving, and the Rainwings have a very specific rule about grief. In this universe, the Rainwings have reverted back to their Book 3 selves, but in this, there's a twist. There's some specific, cultural values and rules about emotions. The Rainwings are very keen on always being happy and positive. They want that good vibes-only mindset, which seems really nice in practice, but it is very unhealthy. It's customary for Rainwings to only grieve for, a few days when someone dies, maybe a week or so if it's someone really close to them, like a partner or family member. But after that, everyone's expected to be totally normal again and forget anything ever happened. So with that in mind, the Islanders are getting kind of pissy about being told to lighten up, and Raisin's getting pissy about being told to lighten up by her own family, who she's tried explaining her emotions to, and they really don't understand because they're very set in their ways. And finally, the Mains and the Islanders all get together, and the Islanders are like, you know what, we want to see more of Pyria, we want to know that this isn't it. The Mains agree, okay, you know what, let's take everybody around Pyria, we will show you the kingdoms that we know. So the Islanders agree to send out a small group of dragons to go look around. That small group is made of what I think would be Raisin, Rattlesnake, Polar, Hollow Truth, an old villager like an elder, a younger rebel, Spitfire, she's a villager, and then one of the Rainwing princesses, who's there to back up her mom's story about, ending the Savage Ages and stuff, and basically, if the group gets harassed, she is going to go and explain why they're there and use her princess authority to, get them through any bad situations they end up in.